This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. It is February 17th, 2022. Jonathan Osborne here, your host, as always, joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke, the Bengals did not win the Super Bowl.
They didn't, and felt like the opportunity was there. It was a little disappointing, but it is what it is. We had Love Day as well since then.
We did have Love Day. What did Lauren do anything special for you? Don't get too into detail here, by the way.
Yeah. Well, no. We didn't do anything crazy. Okay, no. So we actually had a small group for our church, our church small group that night. So there was a few of us. We just went to. I feel like we did pizza for right before we left from this place down the road.
Paisans?
Not Paisans. No.
Do we let's tell people the story of Paisans.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do that real fast? We want to shed a little light on producer Kevin.
Yeah, we do.
Go ahead.
We do. Okay, so producer Kevin, he's a
detective of sorts.
He's a detective of sorts. Yeah,
like Batman, if you will.
Sort of Sherlock, maybe more like. I don't know, but yeah, he has a flight simulator game. I don't even know what he plays this on. Do you know what this is on?
I think it's on his Xbox. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, all right. So he has a flight simulator, and you can go anywhere in the world with this thing. Like, the world is your oyster. You can go to the pyramids. You can go wherever. I don't know if that's.
You can land on top of Amway.
Wow, you can land on top of Amway. But you guys know what producer Kevin that he decided where he wanted to go that day? My apartment complex, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty sure he sent a video of like flying into my apartment building, like really, kind of dark almost. But flies into the building, goes on to basically name my apartment complex, talk about Paisans Pizzeria, which is like right next to my apartment complex. Asked me if I ever go to eat there. Kevin just ran before he let the cat out of the bag that he just did this on Flight Simulator. Like, he was like, oh, your apartment complex. Oh, Paisans Pizzeria. And I was like, Kevin, what are we doing, man? And come to find out, he sends me a video of him, quite literally flying into an apartment building at my complex. So that's producer Kevin in all of his glory, whether he enjoys that story or not. I mean, he did it. He
big geography guy.
Very big geography guy. There's a world. That's the hardest thing to pronounce in the world. Worldle. It's
not Wordle, folks.
No.
We know what Wordle is.
Yes.
Undefeated, by the way.
Yeah.
Undefeated. Never lost.
Never lost. But yeah,
producer Kevin can't say the same, unfortunately.
But producer Kevin can say that he's a geography nerd, and he plays this game called Wordle. And you literally just put in like a country based on the picture they give you of the country, and it tells you how many miles away you are from that country, and you get 6 guesses.
Not even miles, kilometers.
Kilometers,
That's how hardcore it is.
And Kevin's like, yeah, totally, know this one. He'll get it in like 4 tries. I'm like, if I don't get it on the first try, I'm screwed. And if it's not a boot, which means it's Italy, I'm absolutely screwed. So,
right. Or the shape of Florida.
Right. Yeah, well, that would be a state. But yeah.
Well, I come on. I get that. But I'm just saying, like, do you know if you saw the shape of Omaha or the shape of Nebraska, rather, would you know it's Nebraska?
Maybe. I think so.
Maybe. Yeah.
I just know I'm right in the middle of the United States.
Right.
Don't ask me any further geography questions.
I think, like, New Jersey, I would know. I would know Florida.
You're talking about, like, if they isolate it from the country. Yeah, and they just kind of give it to you, and they do
just
on
gave
Wordle.
you the shape, like California, Texas, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Not that many, but yeah, we love producer Kevin. That was just a really, really funny story.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the Super Bowl. Bengals didn't win, which sucked, but I was happy for Matt Stafford. I'm very sad for Dan Savage. I messaged him before the Super Bowl, and I was like, if you guys win, we call first dibs on having you on the show. He's like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just haven't had the heart to like message him and be like, hey, sorry for jinxing you.
I think he'd still come on to talk about it. That was a crazy run for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually he will.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a little bit too soon. Last thing I wanted to say about Love Day, Valentine's Day. I get my wife to carve the chocolates. You know what I get? I get a card. I like chocolate too.
No chocolates.
So, I anticipate this every year because I buy her chocolate. She's not like a big chocolate person. So I usually buy something that I would like to eat. Because that's usually how it ends. Like this year I got her like the Lindt truffles.
Okay.
LINDT. And those are... I've been smashing those like every day, but I don't do dark chocolate.
You don't do dark chocolate?
I don't like dark chocolate. No, I prefer milk chocolate or white chocolate.
That's interesting. I used
dark
to be
chocolate just bitter.
I used to be a milk chocolate guy,
do
but then Lauren started getting dark chocolate chips because they were like healthier, like in regard to chocolate chips.
Right.
She would get them and she would eat it still does this. We have them in our pantry at all times. Dark chocolate, like morsel, dark chocolate chips. I've grown to like them. Like I prefer them. I taste milk chocolate now, and I'm like, it's not like enough. Like the flavor.
I will say, in like a cookie, dark chocolate or like the semi-sweet morsels are definitely the best.
Yeah.
In a chocolate chip cookie, milk chocolate is too much. Like it's too rich. It's too sweet. It's just, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I wanted to announce to the world that I got gypped on Valentine's Day, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Love my wife.
Yep.
Don't worry about us.
Great manager of the show.
We're doing just fine. What's that?
Great manager of the show.
Yeah, please don't let her hear you say that. She doesn't listen regularly anymore, just because she's kind of jaded, I guess, at this point. But don't let her hear you say that.
Yeah.
All right, Luke. Before we get into the show this week, now that we've wasted everyone's time here, I know we're gonna get a complaint. You guys talked for 7 minutes.
No, we're gonna get a YouTube comment.
We're
gonna get a YouTube comment that says episode starts at 7 minutes. One of you guys did that months ago, and I was like, "What? Like, what?"
Episode starts at 1 second. Thank you.
Yeah, and I said, "No, it starts at 0:00."
Right.
Screw you, buddy.
Right.
As we could talk about whatever we want. All right, we could talk 30
go.
minutes. You guys will never know when we get into magic content. But 7 minute mark, guys. You hear it first. We're getting into the magic.
Well, actually, we have to talk about Patreon first, and then we'll get into
shortly,
the
guys. Shortly.
So shout out to our patrons, those of you that help financially support the show. We are so thankful to you guys, and we shout you guys out every single week. So if you want a special shout out on the show and you want to financially support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/The6ManShow. Shout out Court Cousins, Drew Gooden. We haven't had Drew on the show in a long time. We got to get Drew on soon. Armin, Keith Garcia, Zico, Carson Tulo, Nathan Lynn, Ellis, Jonathan Borges, Norm L, Magic Player History, Julio, Bailey, Matt Lyman, Eric Segovia, and Gabe Gaines. Thank you guys so much for the support. Really, really appreciate you guys. Okay, Luke. So since our last episode, the Magic have played 2 games, and they lost both of those games. The Magic lost 111 to 121 to the Denver Nuggets. When was that? Was that Monday? What's today now? Today's Wednesday. Yes, that was Monday. To the Denver Nuggets in Denver. It was the final game, the 4th game of the road trip. The Magic went 3-1. Beginning of that game, Luke, the Magic actually looked like they were ready to pack it in and get home, but we'll talk about the game more in just a second. And then tonight, Wednesday night, the Magic lose 130 to 109 at home to the Atlanta Hawks, the last game before the All-Star break. And the Magic just basically ran out of the gym. Going into the second quarter, and the game was just never close. Most of the second half, Magic trailed by like 25 to 30 points. So, but let's talk about Monday, Luke. In Denver, the final game of the 4-game West Coast road trip for the Magic, and when they went 1-3 on that road trip, young team playing in Denver, with the higher altitude there. Always a factor, the best home court advantage in the league for Denver. Again, last game of the road trip, you've got one more home game 2 days later after you get a day off after you get home, and then you've got the All-Star break. Very easy for a young team to just kind of look ahead to the All-Star break. You get down early. It really would have been easy for the Magic to just pack it in. You're down by as much as 20 in the second quarter. The Magic tried to make it close at 2 separate points in the second half. Where they, I think, closed the deficit to 10 or 11 points before the Nuggets stretched it back out to 10. And then with about 2 minutes to go in this game, the Magic got the lead, back under, into single digits, but just were never able to pull off the win here, Luke. Obviously, you're playing against the reigning MVP in Nikola Jokic. You've got, Will Barton, who had a great game. We got to see Aaron Gordon, former Magic player. He played okay, didn't have a crazy game, by any means. And then we also saw, and this always sounds strange when I hear it and I say it, former Magic player Jeff Green. Like I didn't forget that Jeff Green played for the Magic, but his time here was just very forgetful. I actually met him. I don't know that I've ever told you this. I met him at a season ticket holder event.
Yeah. Was that?
Was that the 16-17 season? I believe it was. And I told him, I said, hey, we're making the playoffs this year, right? He said, I promise. Jeff Green did not keep that promise, Luke. What'd you think of the game against the Nuggets?
He promised?
He said, I promise, yes.
Wow.
He said, I promise. They did not make the playoffs.
Interesting.
And he was gone shortly thereafter, so no big deal.
So they always, the phrase, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I've
heard that.
It sure helps, right? Like, it sure helps a lot to start, though. Like, to start on a good foot. The Magic put up 14 points in that first quarter, and immediately, like, you just had this feeling, right? That, like, thank goodness for that second half the Magic had. Really, that fourth quarter where they put up 41 freaking points. But how do you do that, by the way, Jonathan? How do you score 14 in the first quarter, and then in that same game, you score 41?
Desperation.
Denver leaves the door open a little bit. They're like, oh, we're smacking these dudes around, not worried about it. It is what it is, man. But it was weird, man. Denver 23 turnovers too, to Orlando's 15. Denver shoots the ball lights out from 3 as well. I mean, and also, spoiler alert, Jokic is good at basketball.
They out-rebound the Magic.
Yep. And Jokic still had 26 on 26, so, like, it wasn't a great game by any means from the field, but he snags 15 rebounds, has 7 assists, just Jokic things. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to pull from this game. Sometimes the other team is just better.
Well, there's one thing that I want to pull from this game,
okay.
And it's the fact that Mo Bamba played 11 minutes, played
4
minutes 41 seconds in the first half, played 6 minutes 33 seconds in the second half. So This is still becoming a habit where just every few games we just barely see Mo Bamba.
Yep.
And he wasn't in the game really when the Magic were playing well, especially in the second half. Obviously, I don't want to say they started to come back, but they started to make the game not a blowout. Mm-hmm. You outscored Denver 71-68 in the second half. And, a lot of that, just doing a good job sharing the basketball. I don't want to say they defended well, giving up 68 points, but there was definitely more attention to detail, and they were competing better on that end than they did in the first half. But, yeah, that was the major takeaway for me is just and I said it after the game, I believe. I'm ready for Chuma to be inserted into the starting lineup. He played 31 minutes in this game. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but the offense just seemed to flow better when Chuma was in there, and the defense looked better with Chuma in there as well.
Yeah, so, and he despite his 3 for 10 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3 for what it's worth.
37%. That's if we get 37%,
what
from Chuma
the
from
weirdest
behind the line, I'm good with that.
Probably the weirdest part about that game with Denver, T. Ross plays 20 minutes, doesn't take a shot.
There was a one of those TPA charts that came out today that I shared with you and Kevin, and I'm gonna bring it back up now. Basically, what the chart is illustrating. Yeah, it's from the basketball. It's from bballindex.com. Basically, what it is a map of it's a map of the guys in the league who get the best and worst shot quality. So some of the worst, shot quality guys in the league you're gonna guess, like James Harden, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Brandon Ingram, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard. And amongst those guys, if you're looking at this chart, you can say arguably it's pretty close to the third worst shot selection, or maybe even the second worst shot selection in the league. Our very own Terrence Ross. I've been saying for weeks now, I'm just fed up with his shot selection. It's not entirely his fault. It's just teams like zero in on him when he's in the game because they know that he really has the ability to take over the game in a short span. But it's like, man, at some point you got to stop settling for that and just try to find better looks.
Well, he just
somehow.
didn't take a look.
Yeah, I mean, good on you, Terrence. You didn't have any good shots, so you didn't take any, I guess.
I don't know, man. It was weird. Also, another note from that game, Jonathan, there's a lot of chatter about Gary Harris at the deadline, right? A lot of Gary Harris chatter. There was a lot of chatter about, he's going to get traded. If he doesn't get traded, he's going to get bought out. Gary Harris led the team in minutes played against Denver with 37. Played 37 minutes. And his stat line, to me, it's irrelevant in what my point is. My point is, you play a guy 37 minutes, it's not, you don't buy that guy out usually. Like it felt and looked like Gary is just like he's a Magic player. That's all it looked like. Well,
you're not wrong there. He was, he was in the jersey. He was playing with the team.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you drive it's a hard argument to make against you there, like playing that many amount of minutes because like okay, the trade deadline's gone. You're not playing this guy to boost his trade value. You're not showcasing him.
He's playing his old team maybe, but I
yeah.
But I don't know, man. I mean, he also had 6 assists, which is pretty good for him. 6 assists.
Well, I mean,
let's
just kind of use this as a transition to tonight. So the Magic lose 130 to 109 to the Hawks. Tonight, Gary Harris only plays 19 minutes, which is, probably indicative of the score. The Magic were out of this for the most part, and, he's been playing a lot of minutes this season, and we're heading into the All-Star break. So, let one of the vets kind of get a little bit of a rest, and same thing with Terrence Ross, only played 17 minutes tonight. But this game was, honestly, Luke, like never really close. You texted, I think it was like midway through the second quarter, and the Magic were down 10, and the Hawks really started to put some stops together. Were really starting to hit some shots, and you were like, "This game is very close to like just not being fun anymore." And then like it instantly wasn't. So like you're down 19 at halftime, all right, and then like I said before, you're down most of the second half by 25 to 30 points. The only reason this game was as close as it was at the end is because it was just like all of the G Leaguers, for the Magic and, most of the bench for the Atlanta Hawks. Like if we go to the fourth quarter, like, yeah, none of their like big minutes guys played at all. Like Trae Young didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. Let's see, Trae Young played 9 minutes in the third quarter and then sat the last few minutes of the third in the entire fourth quarter because the game was just, essentially out of reach. But this tonight for me, Luke, like hats off to the Atlanta Hawks. We all know that this is a team that's been constructed to be a very good offensive team, and they were. They shoot 50% from the floor tonight, 45 for 90. Oh my gosh. They shoot 18 of 33 from the three-point line, 54% from three. And as good as they were, it just felt like the Magic were ready for the All-Star break. That's how I felt tonight.
Yeah, and it felt like that December game when they beat us, 129 to 111 or something like that. Like, and tonight they scored 130. I remember at the time we recorded after that game, not necessarily after it, but some days after it. We were just like, what are we doing? Allowing them to score. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, you're all NBA players. Put some stops together. These guys dropped 129 on our head. And then tonight, they apparently just love playing the Magic.
Yeah.
130 tonight. This is not like the Hawks are 28 and 30, Jonathan. Like they have the tools and they have pieces.
They've been a lot better lately.
They have been better as of late. Yeah, of course. But still, I mean, back in December they still stunk, and they put 129 on us. So it was just like, it's frustrating.
You know what I think it is?
The Magic suck at basketball.
That's not it. That is also true.
Okay.
But what I think it is the last home game of the 2018-2019 season where we absolutely blew the doors off of them.
That was another thing.
Trey just like he kept a mental note of that. Maybe
I think I was in.
I'm lying. I don't really think that's it. I just wanted
No.
an excuse to bring up that game because it was so much fun.
I remember I was in a restaurant and they had it on TV. I think I was in Orlando visiting my brother and his wife and their kids, with my parents and everybody. And I remember just that game being on the TV and being like, "This is like beautiful background music to me." You know, I'm eating my food and I look up and we're just absolutely just smacking the Hawks. Clapping, doing exactly what they did
Very
to us.
electric Amway Center that night.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a fun time. Thanks for bringing that up. Maybe
that season, the games that stick out the most to me were we played the Hornets on Valentine's Day, destroyed them.
Yeah.
The overtime, the come from behind overtime win over the Memphis Grizzlies. That was a great win. The come from behind win over the Heat in Miami the night of Chris Bosh's jersey retirement. That was a big game for us in terms of like tiebreakers and seeding in the Eastern Conference. Then the game against the Hawks, the last home game of the season, and then when we clinched in Boston for the regular season. Those were the games that I'll never forget. Good times.
Much more good times than this game.
Yeah, we're not going to spend a bunch of time on this. Magic, bad team. The Hawks, offensive explosion. The Magic seem ready for the All-Star break.
But I will say, Cole Anthony in 25 minutes, 23 points on 16 shots.
That is what we need.
That's what we need, and it was good for him to go into break with that performance, go into the dunk contest with that performance. Like I've said already 2 or 3 times, Cole, I hope he dominates the dunk contest. I don't think he's going to win, but I hope he does, and I hope that it carries over to his confidence, because tonight, I mean, in 25 minutes, scored 23 points. Not bad at all.
All right, well, that's a perfect segue, actually. We're going to segue to All-Star Weekend. So this coming weekend is All-Star Weekend, obviously. Friday night, we got a few Magic players that are going to be playing in the Rising Stars game. Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony. Luke, we haven't really talked about this too much. Basically, I think it was like a week or two before the rosters were announced.
Yeah.
I posted to Twitter, like, it is a lock that Franz, Jalen, and Cole were going to make this game. And even Jalen said he was a little bit nervous that he wasn't going to make it because of the amount of games that he's lost. But I have no idea how you put 2 teams together of, the best, 24, 25 young players in the league and leave Jalen Suggs off of it. So good for the Magic, three guys in this game. Again, Franz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. But this year, Luke, they're switching it up a little bit. The last few years it's been, I think, like the USA team versus the world team. Years before that, it was always like the rookies versus the sophomores. And this year, they're switching it up. They have like 4 7-man rosters, and basically they're going to play against each other to the 2 teams are going to start off playing each other. I think it's going to be like round robin, and the best teams are going to play each other at the end. It's going to be like some kind of weird tournament. I don't exactly know the format.
Yeah.
But it at least sounds exciting. I wanna go through and name these teams here, Luke, just to kind of get your thoughts and who you think is going to win, and which Magic player do you think is on the best roster. So Team Barry is going to be Cade Cunningham, Dyson Daniels from the G League Ignite team, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, Alperen Şengün, Jayshawn Tate, Franz Wagner. Then we have Team Isaiah, which is Precious Achiuwa, Desmond Bane, Sadiq Bey, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Jaden Hardy, again from G League Ignite, and then Isaiah Stewart. Team Peyton is LaMelo Ball, Scotty Barnes, Ayo Dosunmu. It was supposed to be Chris Duarte. He's going to miss the Rising Stars game due to injury. It's now going to be Jonathan Kuminga in his place. Scoot Henderson from G League Ignite, Jaden McDaniels, and then Davion Mitchell. And then Team Worthy, Cole Anthony, Marjon Beauchamp from the G League Ignite team, Josh Giddey, Jalen Green, Herb Jones, Tyrese Maxey, then Jalen Suggs. If I had to pick a team to win it all, I think I'm going Team Peyton. LaMelo Ball, Scotty Barnes, Ayo, Jonathan Kuminga, Scoot Henderson, Jaden McDaniels, Davion Mitchell.
Okay, I think I would go the one that's got Jaden Hardy on it.
So Team Isaiah, Precious Achiuwa, Desmond Bane, Sadiq Bey, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Jaden Hardy, Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, I like that team.
Both of those teams are really solid. I like Team Peyton just a little bit more. Like a really big team, first of all. Great defenders, Scotty Barnes, Jonathan Kuminga, Davion Mitchell. I really like Io a whole lot. Obviously, LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball, arguably the best player in this game. I think we're talking like LaMelo, Desmond Bane's got to be in that conversation. Anthony Edwards. And then Evan Mobley. Those are probably like the best 4 players in this game, I would say.
Yeah.
And, Team Isaiah has 2 of those guys, Desmond Bane and Anthony Edwards. Yep. They also have Tyrese Halliburton. Probably make the case for, top 4, top 5 players in this game.
Yeah, that's why.
But I also like Franz's team. Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, Alperen Şengün, and Franz.
He's got the best of the Magic. That Cole Anthony team is... Yeah.
Marjan Beauchamp. Don't know much about him. We might be really impressed with him. He's a G-League Ignite guy. But then Josh Giddey, Jalen Green, who I still believe in, but has had a really rough year. Herb Jones, who's been really good for the Pelicans. Tyrese Maxey, he's a stud. And then Jalen Suggs. But that's like a heavily guard team.
Yeah.
And they go up against
they drafted for those, right?
That Team Peyton or Team Barry. I think they're going to have some issues there.
Yeah.
Looking at Team Barry, though, like Cade is kind of a guard, I guess. I don't know much about Dyson Daniels, but like Mobley, center. Okoro's a wing. Şengün's a center. Franz is like a wing. So I don't know. I feel like they could have mixed this up a little bit better.
Well, they drafted, so I think that was why.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, learn to draft some some ball handlers, I guess.
They're maybe drafting
best
available.
We'll see how that's going to go. I think if I had to pick, my winner will probably be Team Peyton.
What was the team that I liked? The one with Jaden Hardy?
Team Isaiah.
What was that? Okay, Team Isaiah. Gotcha.
Team Isaiah. So Team Peyton and Team Isaiah, those are going to be our picks. All right, Luke, let's move on to the Taco Bell Skills Challenge, which I think is going to be the weirdest event on the night. So this year they've really switched it up. It's going to be 3-man teams.
I already don't like this event, by the way. And now they do this.
I like it when it's like the guys by themselves and they're competing against one another.
It's fine. It's the worst of the 3, obviously. But, like, they're going and...
Yeah, it depends.
It's fun when a big man makes it, like, when a big man makes it most of the way, but it's just...
Vooch had a really good chance last year.
He did.
And then I think he lost in the final to Sabonis.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Last year. But
2 years ago.
My counter to that would be, like, back in the day, we had, like, Chris Paul and Steve Nash and, like, right. Dwayne Wade. Back then when we had those guys, and those were the years that the slam dunk contest was kind of, like, not great. Like the years where it was, like John Wall or whatever was, like, in the slam dunk contest. Like, those years were not great. And those kind of, like, upper echelon guards being in the skills challenge, to me, made it really exciting. But this is just weird. So let's talk about this. So again, 3 teams, 3 men per team. We have a Cavs team, which obviously, the All-Star Game's in Cleveland, so it makes sense. And the Cavs have just also been incredible this year. Jared Allen, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. I like the Garland and Mobley combination because both of those guys are super, super skilled. Jared Allen is the one where I'm going to be like, I don't really know how that's going to go. And then we have an Antetokounmpo's team, which this is probably my least favorite detail about All-Star Weekend this year.
You know what trio of brothers they should have put in instead of them?
The Holidays?
Yes.
Yep.
Or put them against each other. I don't care. I'd put my money on the Holidays.
Right.
Freaking ridiculous.
Well, Alex Antetokounmpo, who is not even in the freaking NBA. He's in the G League. Which I know we're bringing like the G League Ignite Rising Stars guys into the Rising Stars game. To me, that makes sense. Because like the G League Ignite is basically supposed to be like a young player pipeline of talent to the NBA.
Yeah.
Like that to me makes sense. But Alex Antetokounmpo, who was on the Lakers roster a couple of years ago when they won the title. And then you have Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
Screw that guy.
He's just one of my least favorite players. I find him very annoying. I really, in my heart of hearts, believe the only reason he's on an NBA roster is because of who his brother is. And that's annoying. And, I would honestly rather see Alex Antetokounmpo in this this event rather than Thanasis. And yeah, Giannis is going to have to carry this team way harder than he did the Bucks to a title last year.
Agreed. Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. And then the rookies.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, are they having them do like the normal stuff? Do we know? Like, are they shooting a three? All that stuff?
I believe it's going to be the same type of skills challenge that we're accustomed to.
Before I made my pick here. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So then we've got the rookies, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, and Josh Giddey. So my favorite is the rookies.
Yep.
I mean, if Scotty Barnes can hit a three, or Josh Giddey can hit a three, I think these guys are going to run away with it.
Yeah. I mean,
all three of those guys, great ball handlers, can all pass the ball really well.
I think
it's just going to come down to this. The skills contest always comes down, or the skills challenge always comes down to hitting the three.
And Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, who don't take 3-pointers, Mobley takes some, but he shoots like 22% or something stupid. 26%, excuse me.
And I'm sure all of the Antetokounmpos are sub-average 3-point shooters.
Yeah, they're not even going to be a thought in my mind. That's a terrible idea.
Giannis, honestly, Giannis could just win the whole thing for them. We can't rule that out.
Well, no, but like, how big of a separation is that though? Like, if Thanasis and Alex can't hit a three or throw a ball through the ring, it doesn't matter how good Giannis is because everybody else is capable of doing that in this contest. At least like on the rookie team. Yeah. So I think they're setting up the rooks for success here because that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen put onto Antetokounmpo.
All right, so round one is team shooting. All players from each team will participate individually with their two teammates rebounding. Each player has 30 seconds to shoot from 5 spots on the court, ranging from 10 to 30 feet. Then there is team passing. Each team will have 30 seconds to complete passes into 3 oversized moving targets, which vary in size and distance from the players. There's going to be a team relay. Each player must complete the course, which has 5 skills in the following order. Outlet pass. Dribble down the court through 3 moving pylons. Make a short shot in the lane. Make a 3-pointer from the corner against an automated defender. That's going to be interesting. And then dribble to the opposite goal and make a basket, such as a dunk, layup, or jump shot. And then there's going to be a half-court shot. The 2 teams that advance to the final round will compete one at a time, and all players on each team will participate in trying to make a half-court shot. Team 1 will set the time to beat, and then whoever has the fastest time will win the skills challenge. I'm still going to go with the rookies. I still feel like
You started talking about how they have like basically the 5-facet skill challenge, and then I was like, no, we're still going to go with the rookies for sure.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to the 3-point contest. So the participants this year in the 3-point contest are Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, Zach LaVine, CJ McCollum. They still have him in a Portland jersey in this photo, which is funny. Patty Mills, Karl Anthony Towns, Fred VanVleet, and then Trae Young. I think I know who you're going to pick.
Who do you think I'm going to pick?
I think you're going to pick Desmond Bane. You've been very high on Desmond Bane this year, rightfully so.
No, so I did some digging, all right? I did some digging into catch and shoot percentages. That is what this is most like to me. And I looked it up on it per NBA.com, right?
Oh, it's got to be Patty. I'm guessing Patty probably has the best.
So
go ahead.
It is technically Zach LaVine. Shoots 48.8% from 3 off a catch and shoot.
Interesting.
However, the volume at which Fred VanVleet shoots with at just a percent worse.
All the way wrong.
Fred VanVleet shoots 4.6 attempts a game off catch and shoot threes and shoots 47.4%. Not to mention, Fred VanVleet shoots like 40% from 3 on 10 attempts a game. So in every aspect of this, I think that it's an easy choice for me. I'm going to go Mr. Fred VanVleet.
Although I will agree that the stat that you pulled is probably the best indicator of how you would compete or how you would perform in this event. I just think something is different about
it's very
time
different.
And also having to take the ball off the rack.
Yeah, it is different. But like you said, that there was the stat that felt most prevalent as opposed to like dribble pull-up shots and stuff like that. That doesn't feel as as relevant. Although, you bounce the ball, it comes up to you, you shoot it, and then like compared to that motion with like grabbing it from the rack, maybe it is more similar than I would think. But I'm sticking to it. Fred VanVleet. I think he is just shooting 40% on 10 threes a game is absurd. So,
well, I feel like every few years we have a guy win the contest that you're just like not really expecting. So I think this year we might see something like that. My pick is going to be Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if Desmond Bane or Luke Kennard end up winning the 3-point contest.
Yep.
I think Zach LaVine is my favorite just because that's who I want to win out of this group. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, one of those guys end up winning this. I'm going to pick the person that I think is least likely. Least likely. This is going to be a hot take. I'm going to say Trae Young.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm going to say Trae Young is my least likely to win. And that sounds really stupid because he's known as a good shooter, but I don't know. I just have a feeling this won't be Trae Young's night.
Okay.
All right,
I can always get behind some Trae Young slander. That's fine.
Oh, yeah. And plus, they beat the crap out of us last night or tonight. So there's probably some of that, some resentment towards Trae Young. Which he actually wasn't like a total foul merchant tonight. So they just beat the pants off of us.
Right.
Before we talk about the All-Star Game, we'll talk about the AT&T Slam Dunk Contest, which our very own Cole Anthony will be performing and competing. And he will be joined by Juan Toscano-Anderson of the Golden State Warriors, Obi Toppin of the New York Knicks, and then Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets. Luke, I wonder if there is a stat out there for the most times a team has had a competitor in the slam dunk contest, like in between wins. So I think the last person that won the slam dunk contest, like we have to go all the way back to Dwight Howard. I want to say in like, what was that, like 2010? I can pull that up here. But since then, in what was that? Was that 2014 or 2015? We had Victor Oladipo. And then 2016, obviously, Aaron Gordon. 2017, you also had Aaron Gordon, who lost it. And then last year, we had Aaron Gordon again. So the last 4 times a Magic player has been in this event, Luke, they've lost. So for that reason alone, I feel like Cole Anthony's going to pull it out.
I think so.
And I just think he's capable. Like, obviously, like, Juan Toscano-Anderson, he doesn't, like, I haven't watched enough film on Juan Toscano-Anderson and some of his highlights, but I've never seen him really wow me with his athleticism watching the Magic play the Warriors. Now, Obi Toppin and Jalen Green are both, like, explosive leapers.
Obi just catches
I feel like
lobs.
Cole Anthony might be the most creative out of the bunch.
Yeah, creativity is going to obviously be huge. It's not just like who can throw it down by any means. You got to be creative. You got to be like expressive enough, right, to do something that's like, I guess daring would be the word, or bold. Cole could definitely do it. I think Cole has the ceiling to win it. But another guy that's got a lot of confidence, Jalen Green.
Yeah,
I think I'm having a hard time narrowing it down. Honestly, I watched Juan Toscano-Anderson throw it down over JaVale McGee. I watched one of those highlights here recently. It was vicious. To be able to poster somebody, you got to be able to get up. And despite like what we've seen from JTA, I mean, he showed some bounce. So I'm taking that into consideration.
I respect that.
I'm taking that into consideration. I'm going to say Jalen Green. I'm going to say Jalen Green, and runner-up is Juan Toscano-Anderson.
Wow, Cole doesn't even make the final round, huh? Well, I hope you're wrong.
I think that Cole will be. I think his downfall will be being too creative. I think that's a possibility. I think he's going to be too willing to try ridiculous stuff that's going to win him it if he can hit it. But I think that it's just not going to come together. I think that he's going to maybe put a little too much on it.
Well, we'll see. I remember the 2016 dunk contest. What really set Aaron off was when stuff got on the hoverboard and started to rotate.
Incredible.
And he caught the 180,
Yeah.
It's really like a 360 scoop.
Uh-huh.
And that was like, all right, this kid is here to compete. And that just like took his confidence to the next level, and he just
crazy.
put on the greatest dunk contest performance of all time and was robbed. I'll still never get over that. Not the biggest AG guy fan these days, but definitely deserved in 2016.
Listen, back then I was still talking about his potential. So back then it was a lot of hype.
Yeah. Well, last year, like, Anthony Simons won the dunk contest, so that just, like, he's not the biggest leaper, and I was not impressed by last year's dunk contest. Obviously, after AG got screwed in 2020, it was going to be, like, downhill from there. But, yeah, it just goes to show you, like, you just have to be on that night and to be able to win the dunk contest. All right, Luke, last thing we're going to talk about, and then we'll wrap up the show with the voicemail here. The All-Star Game, all right? Team LeBron James, obviously, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Jokic, Jimmy Butler, Luka Doncic, Darius Garland, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, Fred VanVleet. Team Durant, Kevin Durant, who is not playing in the game, Joel Embiid, Ja Morant, Jason Tatum, Andrew Wiggins, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Devin Booker, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, DeJounte Murray, Karl Anthony Towns. Kevin Durant, I believe, was replaced by Jason Tatum, and I believe James Harden, was substituted for, why is the name, Jarrett Allen. He was replaced by Jarrett Allen, those guys being hurt. I think LeBron, every single year getting the first pick in these drafts, has the advantage, and I don't know what Kevin, or some of these guys, their plan is when they go to select these teams, but LeBron just continues to crush it, and I think we're going to see another year where Team LeBron wins.
They're freaking huge, I think, in comparison, based on what you were saying of listing those teams. I haven't done a deep dive into them because I don't care all that much about the All-Star Game, but yeah, no, I think that you listed, he had Jokic, right? Jokic, Giannis, him. I mean, and then they just had a bunch of skill guys too, and Jarrett Allen. You add him, and he's just massive. So I think that I think it's going to be Team LeBron.
Well, Team LeBron has I think 4 guys that you could argue belong in the MVP conversation, in Giannis, Steph, DeMar, and Jokic. Those are all guys that belong in the MVP conversation. For Team Durant, you could maybe throw Joel Embiid and Ja Morant in there, and then that's it. So I just think Team LeBron is a better team. I think they'll win in emphatic fashion. It'll be way better to actually have fans in attendance. Like last year's All-Star Game, all that with no fans was really whack.
Yeah. So. Plus, LeBron has Mr. Tryhard himself in the All-Star Game, Giannis. So
yeah, Giannis, like he said, the hardest playing player in the history of the All-Star Game, right, which is what we love about Giannis. So, all right, folks, we're going to wrap up the show in just a moment with a voicemail. Wanted to make a quick announcement. So we've been doing the show. Actually, a week from today, the 23rd of February, will be the 3rd-year anniversary since we released the first episode. And I've never, ever, ever missed a Monday episode. Never missed a Monday episode. We are taking an all-star break. It's been a tough season. We've all got some stuff going on in our personal lives. So giving the guys this Sunday off, where we would usually record, no Magic basketball going on. We will be back with you guys next Thursday with an episode. We'll recap everything that happened at All-Star. We'll take a look at the last stretch of the season and any other Orlando Magic news that comes out, obviously. So, sorry, guys. We've been doing this a long time, and it definitely is a grind. We love doing it, but we've got basically 9 days in between Magic games, so just going to give the fellas a little bit of a break. Hope you guys can understand that and appreciate that, and then we'll be back, and we'll keep it rocking and rolling the rest of the season, preseason, all that kind of good stuff. All right, we've got one voicemail that we are going to go ahead and play. Some stuff happened on TNT the other night, and we've got a listener that wants to talk about it.
Hey, boys. It's Joe from Magic City, Birmingham, Alabama. Just curious if you guys happened to hear on TNT last night when Shaq and Dwayne Wade were giving T-Mac his roses, and they both said, that there was a chance that they would have returned Shaq after leaving L.A. And Dwayne Wade and a possible draft night trade. When I think of all the what-ifs with Orlando and Trace McGrady especially, those two just add another layer of frustration to it all. So I just wanted to know what y'all's thoughts were. So go ahead and good week. Good Magic.
All right, so first of all, thank you so much, Joe, for calling in. Really, really appreciate that. Luke, I know you didn't see this, but there was a clip from TNT the other night. Shaq was on, T-Mac was on, Dwayne Wade was on. They were talking about, just basically how underrated Tracy McGrady is to the current generation now and just how great of a player he was. And Shaq mentions that when he was contemplating leaving the Lakers, he knew that he was aging and that he was going to need like another guy. Shaq was basically going to have to take the back seat to someone to be competitive, to try to win another championship elsewhere. And he said that for a little while he contemplated returning to the Magic, but he said, I think the quote was, there some BS happened or something happened with the Magic allegedly. He was thinking of going back and teaming up with Tracy McGrady in Orlando. So that's one what if.
Yeah.
And then Dwayne Wade, he's go, oh, what's funny? Nobody knows this story. And he goes on to say that in the 2003 draft, the Magic had talked with the Heat, where if the Heat weren't able to get their guy at 5, that the Magic would try to trade up. I believe the Magic had the 15th pick in that draft, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically like, what if the Magic could have traded up to 5 to get Miami Heat's pick and draft Dwayne Wade. And everybody knows now from almost 20 years of history that Dwayne Wade was always the guy for Pat Riley and the Heat. And basically they got their guy, and then 3 seasons later they're able to win a championship. I just find it very convenient that these guys bring stuff up like this. I think it's BS. I don't think that it's true. Maybe part of me doesn't want to believe that it's true. I don't want to believe that we had a chance to bring Shaq home, pair him up with, Tracy McGrady. Shaq, did he join the Heat in 2004 or 2005? I don't remember when that was, but if it was 2005, then it was kind of, a little bit too late for the Magic because, obviously
2004.
2004. So I guess there was a chance. There are some people out on Twitter kind of trying to break down the timeline of when all this might have happened, because like if you trade for Shaq and you still have Tracy McGrady and you could have convinced him to stay, then you still would have had the number 1 pick and you could have drafted Dwight Howard, which like then we start talking about fit and it just gets kind of weird. So again, it's very convenient to me that all of a sudden this got brought up.
I don't know. So
TNT
was the story that the Magic were going to trade for the Heat's 5th pick, or after that, like the 6th, if they didn't get
no. Apparently, if the guy that the Heat wanted was taken before their pick,
they would be willing.
They were
to trade
in talks
5th.
to trade. So like, Dwayne Wade was never going to be on the Magic. That's what this all comes down to. Because he was either getting picked before 5, or the Heat actually took him at 5.
Okay, so the main story.
This isn't a scenario where the Magic almost
the main
had the
story,
Heat, at least the way that I understand.
Right, the main story is that Shaq was gonna maybe team up with T-Mac. Essentially, is what we're seeing here. Right. Would have been great. I mean, that 03-04 roster for the Magic, they go 21 and 61, and then next year 04-05 they go 36 and 46. So, I mean, Shaq would have been fun. But yeah, like you said, you get into Dwight stuff and all that. I just think like a lot of these guys just want to a lot of these NBA players want to remember things how they want to remember things.
Yes.
I just want to get like all the front office guys from that time in a room and be like, all right, guys, what did you guys discuss?
Tell me the truth.
Yeah, you tell me the truth, nothing but the truth. I am tired of these guys trying to act like they were in fantasy land and they were about to go do something when like they really weren't. Like it's like when you tell your friends like, yeah, I'm gonna go out that night with you guys. And then they text you and they're like, where are you at? And you're like, I'm still on the couch. But you tell them you're like on the way. It just never happens. Right. Like you're never actually on the way. You seen like those memes and stuff?
I had a friend in high school that was exactly like that.
Yeah, so that was Shaq, right? And that's what I'm going to believe. Because like you said, I don't know if it's just because I don't want to believe it, that we could have had another run at him. But yeah, I just don't believe that Shaq ever was going to do that.
Well, so looking back on that deal, the Heat traded Lamar Odom, Caron Butler, Brian Grant, and a future first-round pick. So to get that deal done with the Lakers, it probably would have taken the number 1 overall pick. back then. So maybe we wouldn't have to worry about, Dwight Howard and Shaq or what you do with that pick. But I just think it's BS. Like, I love Shaq. I don't love Dwayne Wade. I feel like sometimes they just say things that are convenient that make them look good. And, that's my opinion. Love Shaq, but unfortunately, I'm not buying this one. But maybe if it's true, it's just kind of another kick in the balls. Speaking of kicking the balls, we weren't going to bring this up. I wanted to bring this one last thing up really quickly here. How do we feel about J.J. Redick's comments, the live Old Man in the Three with Marcus Smart? Basically called the Magic fan base apathetic. And he says, I would rather play for a fan base that they boo because they care rather than play in front of a fan base what we would call apathetic, who just don't really care one way or the other. I'm not talking about the Orlando Magic. Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
That was his. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. People like to crap on the Magic, and I mean the Magic. It's a little bit warranted.
Can't argue with him.
It's a little warranted. Like, if you want to crap on the Magic, that's fine. Like, we're essentially.
I feel like the only time Magic fans were apathetic though were like his last couple of years here, when it was quite obvious the team was like the team that made runs at the finals.
Right.
Was breaking up and like we weren't going to win a title. And then especially his last year here when we were terrible and he gets traded to Milwaukee. Like, yeah, the fan base was apathetic then, but you can't say in like 08, 09, like 2010 that the fan base was apathetic. I don't agree with that. Now, I definitely agree with that.
Right.
And, you ask, what do you guys think is the best way, or, what can the team do to cure that? And unfortunately, it's winning. I think it's winning. We could talk all day about this, but I do think the Magic are not doing themselves any favors by the way that the arena is designed. Just kind of the focus at the games. They don't really advertise the team around, downtown Orlando. Like, you see Orlando City stuff everywhere. You hardly see, Magic billboards or banners or anything like that anywhere. I feel like the team could do a better job of that, Luke.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Luke, I think that's going to do it for us. Again, we're going to take a little all-star break here. We will be back. We'll record next Wednesday. You guys will hear it next Thursday, unless something crazy happens, obviously, of course. And then there will be an emergency podcast if something crazy happens. But until then, hope you guys enjoy the all-star break. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. Please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It would really help us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @6ManShow and like us on Facebook. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic.